Welcome back from the short break, and we are talking about, Human Development Index. But when we look at development and sustainability, Mr. Tanya Steinmann, can you, in your terms and in the economic world for the country, or for any country for that matter, can you give us an elaboration on that? What does it mean for a country?
Let's turn the two concepts around.
Okay.
Let's start with sustainability, and then in the last part of our discussion, we go over to development.
Okay.
Where we will need to find a definition, or at least we will have to agree on what is it that you expect from development. I'm sure you can sense from our regular discussions that I've got a problem with us using these big words, on the political stage, development, sustainability.
Yes.
And then nobody knows how the hell are we going to do it,
Yeah.
What? So we need to look at what is sustainability. Now for that we need to look at the history. Let's make it very broad, and we say 50 years ago the focal point was profit.
Yeah.
So the interest of the shareholder was tantamount. Nobody else had any say and any legal backing to make a claim to the benefits of any enterprise unless that person was a shareholder, or that institution, organization, could be a company. And it means that a commercial entity had to be managed, and it had to operate it for optimal profit, the biggest profit that you could possibly wrench out of that concern, wherever it was located. And in Africa, it led to exploitation. And it didn't take us long to realize that it's leading to exploitation. But for that, in the meantime, the disposition of the powers to be in the world had to change, and this was not an overnight process. It was very, very gradual, and it went. It was accompanied by lots of tears and blood and guts and upheavals in society. But we are now at a point 50 years later where it is not only shareholder value that counts.
Yeah.
And that's why you see in modern companies, in their comprehensive reporting, they also report on so-called ESG. What did we say would it stand for?
Environmental,
social and governance.
Yes.
And their social investment is a very important part of it. And to make sustainability practical, we look at the government's attitude to new investments in the mining sector. And when a group that wants to invest comes up with a proposal and they say we want to mine uranium or gold or whatever, and this is what we found, and it's been 20 years in the making, the deposit was discovered in the 60s or 70s, and we've now come to the point where market forces have converged so that we think we can run a profitable, in quotation marks, outfit there somewhere in the desert, and we can sell uranium or gold or zinc or copper to such and such and such a client. Then the government would say, okay, how do you finance this? In other words, what is the source of your capital?
Yes.
Then how do you see stakeholder engagement or the community's role in it?
Yeah.
So immediately you add to the cost components. You can also see that part of the environmental assessments that any concern in the outside the city have to make. Let's stick with the mining example. Is when it comes to shutdown of operations, who's going to pay for cleaning up the mess? So do you see that switch in the mindset from where 50 years ago, 100 years ago, we try and wrenched every penny that we could from an operation. Now today, we have to accommodate other cost components because it's going to cost money to clean up that mining operation.
Yeah.
It's costing money to do social investment. It costs money to make bursaries available to send children to the university. So all of these changes the financial framework.
Yeah.
And that is the whole thing that had to change. That when I say there was a change in disposition, this attitude from just going in there for my own profit and bugger the community, bugger the environment, nothing else counts. That has changed significantly. There's actually no room today on the continent, anywhere in Africa, for commercial investment that does not take into consideration environment, society, governance.
Yes.
You know, those are, so the whole concept of stakeholder has become part of the financial model. So, and you remember I said all of these cost money.
Yes.
So it means that your model, your budgeting will look differently than what it would have looked 50 years ago. You have to make provision for other components that is going to reduce the surplus, but that are equally important for the successful operation of that commercial entity. And this is where social investment, community, has become part of the sustainability framework.
Yeah.
You know, can we run this enterprise successfully while still taking care of stakeholder interest? And that is the big question. That we've turned the corner, there's no doubt about it. But that it requires a change in perspective on how you approach an investment. There we are still in the transitional phase.
Let's quickly go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll tap into development.